having problem, difficulties, any issues with regard the course, with regard the programs, or any issues, problem in your life? Anyone want to share? Tak ada? No. No issue ah?
No, madam.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. Think positive. Whatever comes to our life, think it positive. There will be hikmah and accept it, reda, isn't it? And then find a way to solve those problems or those issues. Okay, there will be a problem and solution for each problems. Okay, things positive, and then always start or practice a good and positive aura in our life and also in our surroundings, okay, with our family. Okay, okay, let me share you my screen. The topic for today is quite simple. Okay, I think everybody have very familiar with it. Okay, so let me share with you. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Islamic financial contracts. Okay, which we will discuss one of the components in Islamic financial plannings with regards to the existing products related to money management or fund management, which is if we have a surplus of funds, we have we can do savings, okay, or we can do of or if we have shortage of funds, we can apply for financings. We will concern on the all the financial contracts that offered in the industry, in Islamic financial industry. Okay, the salient features of Islamic finance, these are the salient features, which is the avoidance or the prohibitions element in the Islamic financial contracts toward these three elements, which are riba, maisir and warar. Okay, riba, excessive taking profit over others and take advantage over others' difficulties, and maisir is a gambling. Let's say if we want to make any contracts, we have intentions to grow our money with double and triple, and then and also we want to involve with gambling. It is gambling, and also gharar, uncertainty. That happens, maybe happens in Islamic financial contract. So these three elements is totally prohibited in the industry, also prohibited by Allah, stated in the Al-Quran. Okay, and basically it is not practiced in the Islamic financial industry. Even there is, but only a minor, like say gharar, minor gharar, which is can be tolerated given certain situation. Okay, and then in other elements, because I do not want to explain more about the three elements. I think everybody are clear, because I want to concentrate on what are the products or the financial contracts that practice in the industry. Okay, so before that, let's discuss about the concept of iwad. So the concept of iwad also practiced by the industry players, whereas all the products, all the services offered to the public must bring equal value, equal counter value to all parties, not only to the customer, but the value, the fairness element must be there to all parties that involved, the banks, the service provider, and then even the employee, the employer, and also the customer. Okay, both parties, all parties that involved must get the value, fair value in the transaction. So in what is equal counter value, it is promotes a sense of equity and justice in economic transactions. So it differentiate, this in what will differentiate it from riba. If riba exists, then there is no iwat, because riba is practiced, riba occur or will make only one party create or making more profit than the other party. Okay, cannot be like that. That is why riba is prohibited. Only one party get access of money over the other party that having difficulties. Okay, so in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah said, وَأَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ وَحَرَّمَ riba. Okay, so Islam permits sale or buy, but at the same time, in the same sentence, Allah prohibited riba. So why? Because in the buy and sell contracts, the possibility or probability of happening riba or practicing riba by the parties is there. Okay, if the buy and sell contract is not practiced fairly, it may bring or tantamount to occur a riba. Okay, because a riba not only relate to the financing contract or loan contracts, but also it involved with a sale contracts. If the seller, let's say, selling something that is broken already, and then they hide it from the customer, from the buyer, so it is riba. Okay, then we call a riba, riba al-buyu, riba in buy and sell contract. Okay, and the other types of riba is riba an-nasi'ah, riba in loan or financings. Okay, because only one types of loan is allowed in Islam, which is Qardul Hasan loan. Whatever amount that is a loan given to the other party, that's the only amount that they need to repay back to the party that give the money. Okay, no additional over the amount that given to them. And then the Sharia requires all legitimate exchange to contain iwat. If there is exchange contracts, bilateral contracts between one party to the other party, they must practice iwat element. Okay, both parties must receive equal value. For example, buy and sell contract, one party receive ownerships of the subject matter, like ownerships of a car or house, and the other party would receive exchange of money paid. Okay, so the amount paid by selling the subject matter, the car, for example. Okay, one party receive car, the other party will receive 50,000. So equal counter value, the value must be equal. That is why in implementing IWAT, there must be a consent, mutual consent by the parties, meaning that reda, by mutaaqidaini, reda between the parties. Okay, if there is no mutual consent, the IWAT element cannot be achieved. Okay. From Ibn al-Arabi, every increase which is without iwat or equal counter value is riba, meaning that only one party getting the profit, the other party getting loss. So it's also considered as riba. Why riba is prohibited? Because no iwat element, no equal exchange of counter value. Exchange of value. So, in all, these are example of Islamic contracts. Yes, any question?
Yes, yes, madam. I have
Yes.
question.
Mm.
Regarding to riba,
Mm.
so in terms of selling,
Mm.
let's say if one customer, one seller, he
Mm.
use like the price of one goods,
Mm.
he use like a excessive price.
Mm.
Can we consider that he is using riba?
Okay, so in that one is in buy and sell contracts. Uh, so we need to cater. Let me explain this element of inward, so that after that I will answer the question. Okay,
Okay.
so element of inward. Okay, what are the elements to determine the profit in selling subject matter? Okay, so the element of inward, first, risk. Okay, the seller must measure what are the types of risk that involve in producing the subject matter. Okay, like risk on the price goes down, or risk to take the delivery from the supplier, because we have many types of risk, isn't it? Market risk, financial risk, and then many other types of risk. And the other elements are work and effort. Okay, so to sell something, there must be work and effort. How much the work and effort that has been put in producing the subject matter. Okay, and
Okay,
then the liability that they have. Let's say they give a warranty to the buyer. Let's say warranty within 1 week. If the goods is not, you do not receive the subject matter in a good, apa nama dia, in a good condition, so you are allowed to return back the subject matter to me. The liability, the responsibility of the seller. So they need to measure this. If all of these have been measured and the price that they put on the subject matter is not equal to the all the elements here, it's tantamount to having riba. Okay, because we cannot sell something that is so excessive, okay, to the other party. And then another thing is from the context of the buyer. Okay, if the buyer, let's say, still want to buy the subject matter, like a very expensive watch, for example, with that given expensive price, because it's so special. So it depends on them. If they agree, and then okay. Uh, so provided that mutual consent between the buyer and the seller. But on the first place, in order to have barakah in whatever that the subject matter sell to the other party, so the seller is need to count all of this. Okay, so that is why the bank, if they want to structure a product, they also need to measure what are the risks that involve in structuring the products before go to the market, before offer to the public. What are the effort? What are the work? And what are the system that will involve? And then what are the types of contract, the process, the document involved, and also the liability of the banks when something happens to the customer, something happens to the contract itself, the third party that involved, so that after that they can measure the profit rate that they want to determine, offer to the public. Okay, all of these elements need to be measured in order to achieve barakah, in order to ensure the price that offered to the public is fair enough to all parties, to the bank, or to the seller, and also to the public or to the buyer. Okay, so after that, the second stage is mutual consent. Okay, mutual consent meaning that the buyer accept the price and agree to pay for that price, and then okay, brother, do I answer your question?
yes, madam.
Hmm.
But I would like to know
Hmm.
also, like, if let's say the seller, he knows that he's the one who sell the product in the
Hmm.
market, like let's say in the
Hmm.
area, and he used this opportunity to raise the price.
Hmm.
Because he already calculate all these things you mentioned it,
Hmm.
and he noticed that let's say it's 50 ringgit, but
Hmm.
because he knows he's the one who sells the product, he make that
Hmm.
like 60 ringgit.
Hmm.
So the 10 above can be considered as a riba.
Hmm. 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 Um, I couldn't say it is tantamount to riba, but the practice is not good. Okay. So riba, there are two types of riba: riba in loan and riba in buy and sell. Okay. So riba in buy and sell is we selling some things that is the value is not equal to the value of the productions of the subject matter, which is in what what riba occur in buy and sell contract if we sell something that is not equal in value, but in practice, okay, in practice, maybe we can relate with the practice of maybe monopoly, or because we have to refer to the market. Okay, we have to refer to the market, and if the seller is the only one that sell the apa nama dia, the subject matter, uh, um, what I can say, it is not it is hard for me to say it is riba, but it is a bad practice, and maybe willing seller and willing buyer, the concept of willing seller and willing buyer lah, they have the power, the selling power on that particular, let's say in COVID-19, nobody selling a face mask, for example, only him a supplier for the selling the mask. So because of high demand, this one we can relate to the economic theory. Okay, high demand, and when there is a high demand, increase in demand, the selling price will be increase. Okay, but if the selling price, let's say, increase with double and triple, which is not logic. Not logic, it's so excessive, maybe it can bring to riba, because when riba happen, it bring difficulties, it will bring the practice of taking advantage over others. But if the selling price just 10% increase, or not more than 100% increase, then the market price, it is not achieve a riba yet, but because it is market players, the economic theory lah, let's say, basically the economic theory is apa or came up by the Western scholars, because they actually train the economics or the economists, or train the market. If you receive a high demand, then you should increase the price. Actually, it is opposite to the Islam. We cannot take advantage over the situations. We cannot take advantage over others' difficulties. The practice is not healthy, unhealthy practice, because the economic theory is by the Western scholars. Okay, it's opposed to the Islamic theory actually. Okay, do I answer your question?
Yes, yes. Because it is one part is some people that used to do it. So reason why I want to know exactly if it's allowed in Islam. Because I hear someone say that if you raise the profit, it's up to you. But I think in Islam you don't have to raise the profit, and it will be like be difficult to others to buy your product.
Yes. Yes, basically scholars have different views. Some scholars say it is okay as long as willing buyer and willing seller, as long as the customer are able to pay, then you can offer any price. Some scholars say that, but some scholars says that we cannot increase the price if it is not equal to the risk, to the work and effort and the liability that we face in the productions of the subject matter. Okay, different views among the scholars. Okay, but for me, I think it is not a good practice, because we taking advantage over others. We have to think about the maslahah, whether uh, our price will make the society or the public suffer enough. Okay, because when we involve with a business, it is not only about profit and the price. It is actually about the barakah, the blessing from Allah, isn't it, as a Muslim? Okay, that is our belief. Okay, in doing business, not about profit, not about making money and offer high price to become a rich businessman. No, it's not about that. Okay, it is about we achieving barakah in our life. We receive a blessing from Allah. Then insyaAllah we will be success in our business. Okay. Okay, we proceed to the examples of a valid counter value. Risk of trade or ownership, daman milkiyah. For example, TV manufacturer undertakes risk that he might produce TVs that customers do not like and do not end up buying. So this is market risk lah. Eh? Market risk. And TV retailer face a risk of unfavorable market price movement and the situations. Okay, he might have to sell his product in stock at a price which is lower than the cost, or accept inventory which would eventually be costly. I think it happens to the market nowadays. Not all business can be proceed in given the current situations. Okay, people are more concerned on food, okay, to survive, and then because some people have lose their job. Okay, and that's also a kind of market risk, and then the business should think about it and should measure when it happens. So how about their business, and then effort or ikhtiar expended or expertise are rendered. TV manufacturer adds value to raw material that make up a television set by contributing effort in putting TV set together, as well as providing expertise on how to put a TV set together. Okay, so effort, it might be an example of effort. They have to hire expert. Maybe nowadays the traditional method of doing business is no longer applicable, so they have to hire the IT experts to start offering their business online or using technology. So that's also need to be counted. And then liability in event of product defect. When TV retailer sells a TV set, he provide a product warranty against defect. So these are all maybe expenses or the risk and the liabilities that happens to the business. So after they count all of this, then they can offer such a very fair price to the public. Okay. So equal counter value here is equal counter value to all parties, to the customer, to the seller, to the manufacturer, to all parties that involved in the productions or in the business. Okay, these are the basic among the business contract in Islamic finance. We have a profit sharing contract. We have a sale contract. We have deposits contracts. This one custodian contracts lah. Deposit account, custodian contracts. We have agency and also hibah and security. I will go basically for the Islamic financial framework. This topic I will divide into two. Saving element. This one the IFP components, money management. Okay, I will divide by two. We manage money in terms of saving. This one for the surplus. If the parties have surplus of money, they can make a saving. Or even if they are in a deficit party, like say B40 group or middle income and low income group, they still receive money. But as I mentioned last class, they should also plan to make a saving from the income that they receive, even income from zakat. So they have to think about to plan to save the money. 5 ringgit, 10 ringgit, if it is saved regularly, okay, continuously, insyaAllah, at the end of the year, they can accumulate a lot of money rather than they just spend off all the money received from assistance from any associations, NGO, zakat assistance, okay, they still need to plan for saving, okay, that is why we will discuss saving. And then the second element is financings, okay. So financings are not only for the surplus unit, the deficit units, or the group that have a shortage of fund, they can also apply for financing, like Ar-Rahnu, financing through Ar-Rahnu, and microfinancing to start to start doing a small business, okay. So it is about money management. We manage money not only for the rich people, but the poor people need to also manage their money properly. Okay, for the saving part, I introduced a few Islamic contracts that basically applicable or practiced in the industry. Some of the contract is no longer applicable, or it is and then the industry have moved towards the famous contract of the famous contract like Tawaruk. Okay, so the first previously in the saving products, okay, offered by the Islamic banks, they using a wadiah contract, safekeeping contract, and then nowadays no more wadiah, they move towards card contract, a loan contract, and tawaruk contract. Tawaruk contract we'll discuss after this. Okay, so these are the first I think the previously adopted by the Islamic bank, wadiah contract, safekeeping. Is easy. The customer have a surplus of money, or they want to save their money at the banks, not at home. They bring the money to the bank, and they ask the bank to keep the money on their behalf. That's it. Okay, literal definitions of wadiah is a things left with a person, not the owner, for purpose of safekeeping. They ask the bank to safekeep their money. That's it. Okay, more safer rather than keeping at home, because maybe the thief can come, and maybe they can I don't know. It is more safer to to ask the bank to keep the money. And then legal definitions of wadiah is authorizations of a person to keep the property of another in his safe custody by explicit or implicit term. The property here might not may refer to the money, or may refer to any physical property lah, to safekeep gold, to safekeep like if not bank, to safekeep any other belongings like a motor or car. We ask others lah, not ask the bank. The bank only can keep our money or gold with them, because that's their business. Okay, explicit and implicit. Explicit is the customer put conditions to the bank. Implicit terms like is already inbuilt in the wadiah contract. Because wadiah contract, we have two types of wadiah contract here. Wadiah yad amanah and wadiah yad damanah. Wadiah yad amanah is like apa nama dia, give no return on deposit, allow depositors to withdraw funds anytime. Wadiah yad amanah is from the word amanah here. The bank just the customer entrusted the bank to safekeep their money, and at the same time the bank is not eligible to use the money for any purpose. If let's say the customer give the bank 1 ringgit ringgit pula, 100 ringgit, 1000 ringgit with this code of money, because money we have series number, isn't it? So that's a series number, the same series number need to be returned back to the customer. It is amanah to safekeep. The bank cannot return other series number of the banknotes to the depositors. That is very dangerous, risky for the bank lah. That's why the banks adopt wadi'ah yadhamana. Wadi'ah yadhamana is bank may at its own discretion pay depositors positive return in form of hibah, and depending on the bank's profitability, no predetermined priori guarantee of benefit. So that is why in this wadi'ah yadhamana, the bank is eligible or have right to utilize the money. But given that anytime if the customer demand for such amounts of money, the bank need to return back lah. Okay, so the bank can make investment, and then when there is if there is profit from the investment, it's not necessary for the banks to pay to the customer the return, okay, but the bank may give hibah. Okay, so the bank basically adopt wadi'ah yadhamana. Wadi'ah yadhamana is but dhamana is a guarantee. If the bank use the money, the depositors' money, the bank need to guarantee that the money is there when the depositors want. Okay, okay, in Surah Al-Baqarah, okay, verse 238, okay, meaning, and if one of you deposits a thing on trust with another, let the trustee discharge his trust and let him fear his Lord. Okay, so based on the amanah principle, okay, this wadi'ah contract is practiced. Okay. Okay, I think I have explained the types of wadi'ah. I think no need for me to explain anymore. Okay. And then wadi'ah yadhaman sama same. Because this contract is a very straightforward. Tawaruk. Okay. Okay, ada Islamic principle that is applicable in or practiced currently by the banks in saving account is tawaruk. Okay, tawaruk principle. Tawaruk as a mode of saving. Okay, so what is the concept of tawaruk? Tawaruk consists of two sale and purchase contract. Previously, wadi'ah is based on custodian, safekeeping contract. Tawaruk is sale-based contract. Sale-based contract. Not only one sale contract, but sale contract, but two sale contract. Two sale and purchase contract. So the first involve the sale of an asset by a seller to a purchaser on a deferred basis. Subsequently, the purchaser of the first sale will sell the same asset to a third party on a cash and spot basis. Okay, so tawaruk is a combination of two sale contract, whereby one sale contract is done cash, and the second sale contract is done on a deferred basis. In a deferred basis. After this, we will discuss the mechanisms of tawaruk for saving. So each sale and purchase contract in the tawaruk is binding in nature and shall not be terminated unilaterally by any of the contracting parties. So these are the tawaruk is a bilateral contract. It is exchange contract because it is buy and sell contract. Buy and sell contract between two parties, not only one party. That is why it cannot be terminated by only one party. If one party want to terminate the tawaruk contract, the other party must agree to terminate it. And then the sale and purchase contract in the tawaruk may take in the form of a murabaha or musawama. So we need to know what is murabaha and musawama. So murabaha and musawama is a buy and sell contract, whereby in murabaha, because murabaha is buy and sell contract with a profit a markup price with a markup price. So in murabaha, the markup price is informed to the other party. Like say seller want to sell goods, and then they actually buy the goods with 10 ringgit, but they want to sell it with 15 ringgit. The additional of 5 ringgit profit is informed to the buyer. Murabaha. And musawama, it is buy and sell contract whereby the 5 ringgit is not informed to the buyer. Okay. So the seller just said to the buyer, I sell this pen 50 ringgit, that's it. That one is musawama. If murabaha, the seller said, I sell to you with this pen 50 ringgit. Basically 5 ringgit is profit for me. I buy it with 10 ringgit. I make a profit of 5 ringgit. So everything is informed to the buyer. That is murabaha. And then the contracting parties to each sale and purchase contract in the tawaruk should be a seller and a purchaser lah, the contracting parties, because this is a buy and sell contract. Okay, wait, I think I need to okay. And then the seller in the first sale and purchase contract shall not be the purchaser in the second sale and purchase contract in the same tawaruk. Meaning that in tawaruk there are two buy and sell contract, and the parties should be 3 parties. Okay, 3 parties. The purchaser for the second tawaruk must be other parties, not the same one. If the same one, then it become bainah. Okay, buy, sell and buy back with the same parties. Okay, that differentiated the tawaruk and bainah, because bainah having issues, so many wordings. Okay, so each sale, I think this one I took from the tawaruk PD. PD is apa nama dia? Policy document by Bank Negara. Okay, so do you know where to get the informations on all Islamic contracts that practice in the Islamic financial industry or practice by Islamic bank, especially in Malaysia? You can access details on the contract at Bank Negara website. Okay, at Bank Negara website, you go to column researchers column, and you explore. Okay, Bank Negara is actually disclose details, informations and explanations on all contracts that is practiced by the Islamic banks. Okay, so that policy is actually policy document. That policy document is bind, meaning that compulsory to be followed and adopted by all Islamic bank in Malaysia. If Bank Negara knows that any of the banks do not follow all the policy document and opposite to one that disclosed and explained by Bank Negara, they can be sued. Okay, they can be penalized to be non-compliant. Okay, with the Sharia, because all of the information is complied with the Sharia. Okay, and then each sale and purchase contract in a tawaruk shall be entered into through an offer and acceptance lah, because these are buy and sell contract. They should follow the pillars of Islamic contracts. There are parties, there are offer and acceptance, there is a subject matter. They need to determine what is the subject matter in tawaruk. Okay, and then there must be the price. There must be a clear price of the contract. Okay, give me 1 minute. I want to close my. Because it's near to 7, it's already dark, so I need to close the curtain. Okay. And then, what's that? And then an asset which is eligible to be used as the subject matter of a tawarruk should either be a tangible or intangible asset, provided that the asset is recognized by the Sharia as valuable, identifiable and deliverable, and then already in existence and owned by the seller in each respective sale and purchase contract, and the following assets shall not be traded in a tawarruk, like a gold and silver currency. It is prohibited to be traded because of the value, the fluctuates of value of gold and silver. Because tawarruk transaction may happen not within one day, it can happen to few days. So gold and silver is the value will be different for every day. And then asset to be constructed or under constructions cannot, because it having elements of gharar or uncertainty, and asset which are debt in nature cannot trade. Debt cannot be a subject matter in buy and sell contract. And then in the event where the asset is not present at the majlis akad, at the contract session, the seller should provide the purchaser with specific descriptions of the asset, like what are the assets, if the asset, what are the asset, where is the asset is located, and then what are the series number. So every details of the asset, and then the price used for each sale and purchase contract in the tawarruk shall be determined and be mutually agreed. The price must be determined, must be clear. What is the profit rate or the selling price, and then must be mutually agreed, mutual consent by the contracting parties at the times of entering into each of the respective sale and purchase contract. Why? Because of tawarruk having two stages of sale and purchase contract. So each stage must, the price for each stage must be determined. Because first stage is either done on the spot, on a cash basis, and second one on the deferred, or in the first one deferred and second one the cash basis. And then the contracting parties may mutually agree to reschedule the payment period for the remaining debt arising from the sale and purchase contract, because it involves a deferred payment of selling per selling price. Wow, okay, tak apa, it's okay. This one, the arrangement of wakalah in tawarruk, because tawarruk is two sales contracts happen in tawarruk. So usually in a banking practice, the banks will become agents on behalf of the customer, to do the tawarruk transaction. That is why the arrangement of wakalah in tawarruk. So bank will become agents, usually a dual agency lah, agents to buy the commodity on behalf of the customer, and also agents to sell commodity on behalf of the customer. This is usually happens. And then whether to buy or to sell, it depends on the types of product lah. It is saving products or financing product, because tawarruk is not only apply for saving contract or saving products, but also it is applicable to many other types of contract, like a financing, like a trading. So it becomes common nowadays among the Islamic bank, especially in Malaysia, to practice tawarruk in their product. I think I do not want to read all the details here. I want to explain. In Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 279. Again, Allah says, wa halallahu al-bay' wa harrama riba, because tawarruk is actually a sale-based contract. It's a trading contract, sale-based contract. So that is why we use this verse as to justify the applications of tawarruk. Okay? And then from the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad SAW, there is no direct juristic authority from the Sunnah, from the hadith regarding the legitimacy of tawarruk. It is deemed permissible based on general permissibility of sale in law. Because of general permissibility of sale in law, based on the Islamic legal maxims, the Islamic legal maxim said, apa nama dia? All the contract is permissible. Al-aqdu ibah. I forgot the sentence, the maxim itself. Then when I after this I try to recall it, then I will inform. Basically, the general principles in Islam through Islamic legal maxim says basically all the contract in Islam is permissible unless there is a proof that's stating that the contract is opposite to the Sharia. As long as it is not opposite to the Sharia, it is deemed permissible. So in Quran, no single verse, or in the hadith, no hadith stated about prohibitions of tawarruk. That is why it is deemed permissible to be practiced. Okay. But need to follow all the tenets of the Islamic contracts that is actually detailed out by the Bank Negara. Okay, all about the subject matter, the parties. Okay, then we discuss the applications of tawarruk in deposit. Because just now we discussed about saving then. So saving based on tawarruk. Why the name here is commodity murabaha? Because tawarruk is sale based on murabaha. Contract, sale contract based on murabaha principle, markup price principle. Why commodity? Because the subject matter that is used in tawarruk contract is commodity murabaha. We use commodity as the subject matter. Okay, crude commodity. Usually the banks use crude palm oil as a commodity to be transacted that underline the tawarruk contract. Okay, now so in deposit contracts, basically the customer will have a surplus of money for sure. The customer have money, then they approach the bank. So what happened? The company, the customer approach the bank here. So the customer appoints bank as its agents to buy commodity. Okay, so here they approach the banks to buy commodity. Here, buy commodity. Then bank buys the commodity from trader one via Bursa Suq Asilah. Okay, so the banks will buy the commodity on behalf of the customer, acting as agents from trader one. Okay, so what is Bursa Suq Asilah? Bursa Suq Asilah is the platforms of commodity trading. Okay, no physical platform. Bursa Suq Asilah is online platform for commodity tradings. We have a list of traders there. Okay, so here the banks given that sums of money that given by the customer want to save, to ask the bank to save keep the money, kan? And then the banks given instructions by the customer approach trader wants to buy because they bring money to the bank. So buy commodity. Now the commodity belong to the customer. It's already buy with spot lah, because the customer have money. And second one, the customer then sells the commodity because in the first stage, this is the first stage of the tawarruk contract, buy and sell contract first stage, and now the commodity belong to the customer. Then the customer now sell the commodity to the bank at cost plus profit on deferred terms. Okay, then the bank sell the commodity to trader 2 via Bursa Suq Asilah. Okay, so the customer, they when they bring money to the bank, they just give money to the bank. The bank will do the transactions. The customer will not know about trader 1 and trader 2. Everything is done by the banks, okay, online. So the bank give money to the bank, the customer give money to the bank to save their money. And at the time when the customer wants to withdraw their money, their deposit, so the banks will sell the commodity to trader 2, sell the commodity to trader 2 and give back the customer's money with a profit. Okay, with a profit on deferment terms. Deferment terms means that at here, the banks already agreed to the customer, say that if you deposit 10,000 with us, we give you profit rate for 3.1%, for example. Okay, but the profit rate is given on deferment, not at that times, but after a certain period of times, especially for fixed deposit. Like say for 6 months, we give you profit rate 3%. For 1 year, 4%. So it is a deferred profit. Deferred profit with the principal. Cost here is the principal amount. Like say here after 1 year, the customer withdraw the money, 10,000 plus maybe 500 profit rates given to the customer by the bank. So this is a buy and sell contract using tawaruk. Okay, so the trading of commodity here, buying and selling here is done by the bank as the customer's agents, and then it is done using the online platforms that we call Bursa Suq Asilah. Okay, so far clear?
Yes, madam.
Yeah.
Madam,
Any question? Yes.
What will be the difference between this one and the conventional bank?
By the conventional bank do not have any commodity trading. The conventional banks, they use not buy and sell contracts. The conventional banks, if the customer deposit money, they give interest to the customer. No underlying contract. Okay, they just give interest to the customer lah, because the customer give them deposit. That's it.
Okay, we will use this money to invest somewhere, and then we will get profit or like earning, and we will share it with, or we will give it to customers. Same here. Here we say that the rate will be fixed, right? At the beginning.
Yes, because this one is murabahah. Murabahah contract with a markup price, because murabahah is a sale with markup price. So the selling here, this is not only investment or savings, there is a selling of commodity. Even we cannot see the commodity here, there is an underlying commodity. There is a real commodity that's stored by the trader. Okay. So in order, basically all the Islamic contracts that are practiced by the Islamic banks is actually to allow the banking practice to assist the customer for those who need money, and also to assist the customer who have a surplus of fund. Okay, Islamic banks, bank regardless Islamic or the conventional one, okay, bank, their role is an intermediary. They are intermediary that collect a fund from the surplus, from the customer that have surplus money, and they assist the customer that have a shortage of money. Okay, in order for the Islamic bank to make it Islamic, to follow the Islamic principles, all the transaction, their business must adopt the Islamic contract, which is Islamic principle. So in this case, the Islamic principle that is applied is murabahah principles, which is a buy and sell. So even the customer, we say the customer bring money to the bank, but the contract underlying this transaction is buy and sell contract. That is why the bank need to follow the real buy and sell contracts according to the Islamic, the pillars of Islamic contract. Meaning that the parties must be clear who are trader 1, trader 2, the customer and the bank. And also what is the subject matter, the commodity here. They should inform the customer or in the contract, what are the types of the commodity that must be Sharia compliant. It is not commodity that like a virtual commodity. No, the commodity is real. Crude palm oil, metal. Okay, and then the price. Okay, the price here. Like say you sell to me, the banks offer a selling price. They call a selling price. Like say the customers sell the commodity to the banks, these are the selling price to the customer, like a 4%. Then they will calculate the selling price. So these are the things that I think we should admit that the banks act as intermediary, and for the Islamic banks, in order for them to assist the needy, to give financings or to save the deposit from the customer, they try their best to choose any Islamic principles that is applicable. Okay, to underline those practices of giving financings and accepting deposit, and then offering investment tools for the public. Okay.
Yes, madam.
Okay. Because that the business of the bank. Okay, that's why we cannot say if we observe it is like same the bank give a profit to the customer, but still if we sit with them, we observe how they structure such products with very details on the contracts, all the terms and the conditions that things fixed by the central banks. They are so working hard, okay, to ensure every single details offered to the customer is complied with the Sharia. No unfairness or unfair elements that given to the customer. Okay. Fair enough to the bank. If they want to charge a profit, then they will ensure that profit is for what? It is not only for to maximize their return or their profit. The profit must achieve the in-one element. What are the list of risks that they encounter in future by giving this financing scheme or products to the customer, and they have to measure count all single expenses, the cost that happens to them, and then market risk, for example. So every single things is counted. Okay. And then the central banks also would always observe the Islamic banking practice, whether they practice fair enough, and they should always create value in offering their products, and also always assist the public. Not only offer a product that give them high profit, but to also offer product that cater the needs of maybe the lower groups incomes, for example, microfinancings, and so financings during a COVID-19. That is why the banks also offer moratoriums to ease the customer who are having difficulties during a COVID-19 period. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's proceed. Process flow for the fixed deposit. I think this one about the same. I just wanted you to be clear with what is the tawarruk, which is tawarruk consists of two stages of buy and sell contract. Okay, with different parties, not the same parties, like bai'inah. Okay, this one example, ada example of tawarruk. Okay, this one Bursa Suq As-Silah it is launched in 2009. Okay, world first Sharia compliant commodity trading platform, exchange regulated platform, and then from 9 to 23 trading participant. This one all details on the Bursa Suq As-Silah. Okay, and then These are all the things, are the details. You may read later on. What is Bursa Suq Asilah? Is by Bursa Malaysia, the platform for trading platform. So few questions related to Tawaruk. The delivery, okay, because Tawaruk is the buy and sell contract that underline the deposit or any other products. So the delivery status of the subject matter. Okay, so the delivery of the subject matter, because in Tawaruk, the subject matter is the crude palm oil, for example. So the customer basically doesn't need to, does not request to have the crude palm oil. They just want to deposit their money. But still in the contract, the bank need to mention that the customer, because they are the buyer, have right to take delivery of the asset. Okay, they cannot say in the contract that the customer doesn't have right to take delivery. No, it will oppose to the principle of buy and sell contract, because in buy and sell contracts, the buyer basically have right to receive and receive the delivery of the subject matter, isn't it? Request the subject matter. Okay, but because of the underline, the subject matter is crude palm oil, just underline the deposit product. It is not required by the customer. Still, the bank need to prepare options for the customer, because it is their right. And then agency. With the dual agency, circumvent the involvement of customer to take asset delivery. So in Tawaruk, dual agency, bank as agents to buy and bank as agents to sell. So whether it will it will prevent the customer to take delivery? No. Okay, the bank act only agents. If the customer want to take delivery, they can ask the bank, okay, to receive the subject matter. Card status. Can the return be accrued if funds remain as card before commodity trading is initiated? Can returns be accrued if funds remain as card? This one, another issue of card. Card, what is card? Card is a loan. Card is loan by one party to other party, and this issue appear maybe if the commodity trading is not yet happened, but the money is already given to the bank. Like say the customer bring 10,000 to the bank today, and the bank only perform the trading tomorrow. So what happens to the 10,000 today? Kan? It's considered like a card contract whereby the 10,000 is loan to the bank before the bank initiate the trading. So can the return be accrued? So whether the customer have right to ask a profit from the card status, only 1 day profit. I think that's not necessary lah, because card is no return. Kan? And then discrepancies when approval terms change, how will the customer indicate acceptance to the new terms? So usually the banks, if they want to change any terms and the conditions stipulated at the contract previously, they need to ask the customer whether the customer approve or agree with the new terms or not, and give the customer a certain period of times to respond to the bank. The bank cannot simply change the terms without any agreement from the customer. Okay, physical asset. Can the physical asset, where is my cursor? Okay, can the physical asset be identified and split easily for transfer of ownership? Okay, basically the physical asset is there, group palm oil, but usually it is group not individually, but it is in group of customer. So it is not easy to separate the asset. Okay, And then the price fluctuations do changes in the asset price result in key tenant become gharar. Do changes in the asset price result in a key tenant become gharar or uncertain. Basically, the price must be certain at the very beginning. If the price is uncertain, is not fixed at the very beginning, then it tantamount to gharar. Okay, just proceed with your card. Maybe we stop 5 minutes lah, 5 minutes more. I will try to apa nama dia until card because after this we discuss about financing. Okay, and then now card contract also is applied and practiced by the Islamic banks to offer their deposit product. Okay, so what is card? Card refers to a contract of lending money. Card refers to a contract of lending money by a lender to a borrower, where the latter is bound to repay an equivalent replacement amount to the lender. It is a loan contract. If I loan you, I give you 10,000, then you only need to repay me 10,000. Okay? So money may include cash in any currency, gold or silver. And a card contract is established when ownership of a sum of money belonging to the lender is transferred to the borrower, and the borrower is obligated to repay the lender in full. Okay, that one is a general. So in Islamic banks, actually when the customer approach the bank, bring 10,000, is actually is a loan given by the customer to the bank. Okay, so the contracting parties here, bank and the customer, lender and borrower. Now the bank become borrower. Okay, so there will be offer and acceptance. Offer to deposit money. The bank accept the money that brought to them, and then the subject matter is money. There will be a money. The customer cannot just say, I want to give you 10,000 without bring a physical money or without having own any money lah. Will own the money. So the contracting party shall be a natural person or a legal entity that must have the legal capacity. So in Malaysia, this legal capacity is subject to the Contract Acts and the age of majority. And any party to the card contract may enter into the contract through an agent. Okay. So let's see. Okay, the legitimacy of card contract in the Al-Quran. Okay, the meaning is, who is that will grant Allah a goodly loan so that he will repay him many times over, and remember it is Allah who decrease and increase the sustenance, and to him you shall return. Man zallazi yuqridullaha qardan hasanan, qardan fayudha'ifahu lahu ad'afan kathirah. So qardan from is qard, the word qard here. Okay. And then from the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad SAW, and Ibn Mas'ud radhiyallahu anhu, anna Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam qala ma min muslimun yuqridu musliman qardan marrataini illa kana qasadikuha qasadaqatiha marrah. Ibn Mas'ud narrated that Prophet Muhammad SAW, every two loans extended by one Muslim to another count as one charitable payment. Okay. And then, okay, these are the mechanism of card in a deposit. Okay. Only two parties, the bank and the customer. These are the customer. The customer become creditor, the bank become debtor. Okay. So ijab, they offer the bank to a money, some amount of money, and the bank accept it. Then they bring the money to the bank. So the customer at any time can withdraw the money. If they bring 10,000, they only eligible to withdraw 10,000. No need for the banks to pay additional 1,000 or 2,000 on top of the 10,000. Okay, that given by the creditor or by the customer. Okay, So it is opposite with the financing context, whereby the creditor is the bank. Now the bank, the bank, I don't know whether okay, I don't know what I cakap. I think that's it lah. These are the mechanism of the card contract in deposit. Okay, so any question?
Assalamualaikum, Madam. I got one question in regards to Tawarruk. I just want an opinion. Do you find it worrying that the Tawarruk is gaining popularity? Because nowadays, you see like deposits, financing, and also other forms of products, they are adopting Tawarruk. But in spirit, it's not really. In spirit, I find it's not really pure intention of promoting Islamic finance rather than just circumventing it. What are your views?
Yes, I agree with that. So the thing is, the banker or the bank officer need to come up with product innovations rather than offering the same or adopting. I think I can say it is easy for them to offer, just adopt Tawarruk, and then they adopt Tawarruk to all products, I can say. And I think I totally disagree with this. This is not a good practice. The bank should basically try to figure out what are the suitable Islamic contracts to offer rather than relying only on Tawarruk. Okay. Yes, the spirit is not there. The Islamic banking spirit is not there. They just simply I think replicating the conventional one and using the Tawarruk to make it Sharia compliant. Okay. How about you, Kairen? Why don't you come up with idea in structuring or idea in adopting other principles?
I have some ideas, but I think it's not really feasible because knowing how banks, how these institutions work, I don't think the model that I'm proposing will work. Yeah.
Maybe you can discuss.
Yeah, because it involves like risk taking and a little bit of entrepreneurship. So I don't think it's within the bank's risk framework.
Itulah. So I think the banks and maybe the academicians they need to be need to sit down and things. Try to figure out, try to find solutions for the Tawarruk. I think I'm a bit worried. For every product structure, new product, they will adopt Tawarruk. They will adopt Tawarruk, not other contracts. Okay, that's worry me actually. But at the same time, I'm in my side also. I try to find what are the other contract or principle, Islamic principle that we can adopt to replace the Tawarruk. Okay, because Tawarruk, I think it is a short way to structure product, isn't it?
Yep,
They adjust somewhere and they some part, and then it is compliant with the Sharia because of the central banks already approve and then come up with the policy document on Tawarruk. That is why they are so complacent to offer and then to adopt the Tawarruk principle. Okay, so inshallah we try our best and our effort to find what are the other suitable contract, because previously apa nama dia, the principle of like say for financing musyarakah mutanakisah that is offered and then that is proposed to the market, but it is not applicable, is not marketable to adopt such a contract, maybe need to find other types of principles. Okay.
Thank you, madam.
Yeah, yes.
Assalamualaikum. Here
Waalaikumsalam.
is Brahima.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. From your explanation, I think I catch 3-4 questions. I think I will not be able to really say everything right now, but I will start first from the card contracts. Just you explain. And what I believe, whatever we talk about the contract in Islamic finance, we are talking about the profit and loss sharing. So, and you said from here that in card contract, like when the lender give the money, and the receiver will just pay back the money without anything. So I want to know what is the essence or the importance of the card contract, because if there is no like profit or loss share after the operations or transaction, what is the essence to be a contract of in financial in Islamic finance?
Okay, so card contract is, I think so far card contract is only applied in deposit account, in deposit product. So why? Because of the main intentions of the customer when they approach the bank is to keep their money, to ensure their money is safe kept by the bank. So they don't care about a profit. In this instance, in this context, they don't care about profit. They just want the bank to safe keep their money. So that is why they don't care about if there is no profit given to them. But on the bank side, when the customer or depositor bring money to them, for sure the bank will make investment and will make profit from that deposit. But because of this contract is based on card, the banks only need to pay whatever total amount of deposit that given to them.
Okay. Okay.
So at the same time, they are responsible to ensure the deposit is not damaged or reduced. The deposit can be returned back in same amount to the customer.
Okay.
That's it for the card contract.
Okay. So what? Okay, I understand that one. And how about the commodity muraba deposit? So from your explanation, I think I understand the explanation. You said that the customer will approach the bank and will appoint one of the bank agents to buy the commodities, and then the customer will sell back the commodity to the bank, and the bank will sell the commodities. So I want to know, for this case, for this scenario that you explained, the moment that the bank buy the commodities, if the price was okay, and then after that, whether the price goes up or goes down, like if, let's say the worst case, if the price goes down, but like the bank already buy the commodities and the price is low now, what will be happening?
Okay, it will not happen because tawarruk is based on murabaha. Based on murabaha contracts. What is murabaha? Is sell with a markup price, whereby the selling price is fixed at the very beginning. Meaning that the banks offer the profit to the customer is fixed profit 3%. Regardless whatever happens to the price of the commodity, it is promised by the bank to the customer to sell such commodity in deferred with certain price. That price is certain, not fluctuate. And at the bank side also, they have made observations and assumptions in future on the price of the commodity. But if it is happen, the commodities price reduce, so the banks lah, the one that need to maybe bear the loss, because the selling price already fixed at the beginnings of the transaction. Okay.
I understand that the selling price is fixed between the two parties, right? But in case like for the spot market, like from the market, what they are going to sell the commodities if the price is not that what they were expecting. So how they will handle, how the two parties will handle it, they will also, I don't know, share, or who will bear the cost between the customer and the bank, because the bank was just the agent, like intermediation.
Okay, and let me show you the mechanism. Okay, the customer then sells the commodity to the bank at cost to the bank as principal. Okay, so in this case, bank sell the commodity. In this case, the banks only act as first agents. This one, and this one, the commodity is sold to the bank. The bank as principal. They pay the profit to the customer. Usually, the banks will sell the commodity with a good price to the trader to get a profit. Then they give the profit to the customer here. So in this case, bank only act as one agent, not dual agency here. Okay, so in Tawaruk, there will be one agency and dual agency. So in this case, one agency lah, bank act as agent. But this one, the customer sell the commodity to the bank as principal, to the bank itself, not to the agents. Okay, so here, the commodity is about based on how much the customer bring to the bank. So the banks will find any trader that can sell the commodity at that particular price or at that particular amount of money given by the customer. But at the very beginnings also, the banks in this contract, the banks already agreed with such a certain profit price or profit rate to the customer lah, because in this case it is like a customer make investment to the bank, but this is not investment account. This is deposit account lah. Okay.
Yes. This is deposit account. Yes.
So anything else? It's already 7:30. We need to pray.
Okay, after prayer, I will just ask the second question.
Okay. So we will continue at maybe 8 p.m. Okay. We continue after this. Okay, to finish our today chapter. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.